today we're going to be doing a special stream. This stream is officially a, mixology stream, but I couldn't find that category on Twitch, so here we are with the just chatting. We are going to be chatting. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to tell some tales from the resting hall. For those who have no idea what I'm talking about, because you're from Earth, and Earth doesn't have the resting hall. The dimension that this stream is being streamed to for some reason, I don't know, that makes no sense, but you'll figure it out eventually. Anyway, the resting hall is in the Alpha Orbis system. It is floating off into space as we speak. It's basically built out of a trade ship that was destroyed in a pirate attack, and it is the home to many, many things. This drink in particular, the Merc's Standoff. We will be making that tonight. Before I get into it, I will give you a brief rundown of its history. So, not sure exactly the year, but when the resting hall was founded by the owner, he was coming up with many different drinks. He's tried plenty of things to try to go viral, right? Because every bar needs a viral drink in the age of capitalism, and then some. So he was messing with all kinds of cocktails. Who knows what crazy contraptions he may have tried to put into drinks for all that now. Anyway, once upon a time he was mixing his drink. One of the drinks he was coming up with, hasn't tasted it yet, right? But he finishes the drink, right? And as soon as he does, he spots a mercenary walk into the bar. The mercenary says, "I'm looking for," I don't know, he hasn't told me the guy's name, but he was looking for his target, he says. And he's like, "I'm looking for him. I need to have a word with him." So the mercenary goes and sifts through the bar. He finds the guy he was looking for, some criminal, some kind, hopefully a criminal. And, they get into an altercation. Of course, my boss, at the resting hall, he's sipping away. And as he takes his first sip, the mercenary draws his gun. The criminal draws his. And a classic Merc standoff. On Earth, I think you call it a Mexican standoff, but on Orbis, we call it a Merc standoff, because Mexico is a long way from Orbis, as they say, and so is any other country, as they say. And that's how the tale goes. Never told me who shot first either, which is up to interpretation. Now, I will give up the ingredients and then we'll get into it. The ingredients are 1 part, how do you pronounce this again? Tanqueray is what we're using today. We're using a London gin here. It is dry gin. It looks very nice. I haven't tried it yet, this particular brand. It has a nice seal on it. It smells lovely. I had to take another sniff. I took it earlier. A sniff of this. That's part 1. And then we have Jefferson's, a very nice bourbon. Smelt a bit of it earlier. Very, very nice bourbon. We will be trying both of these neat for a little bit. Not as much as a full shot though. And we get an ounce of each of these. You can't see them, we're off camera. Let me move this down this way so you can see the ingredients that I put on camera. So, an ounce of each of these, right? And then the key ingredient here, if I can get it out of the packaging, is freshly cut pineapples from a local, preferably, farm, fresh kind of place, So these are pineapple slices. They're a little bit thick right now, but we're going to cut them down the center, hopefully not cut ourselves with a knife here. Now the first step is to put the pineapples in the glass, and you add the 2 ounces of respective drinks. And of course the final step is Pepsi. You pour Pepsi over the drink. Of course you got to stir it before you pour the Pepsi. Very important. If you stir it with the Pepsi, it's going to fizz up a little bit. And definitely don't shake this drink with Pepsi in it. Mistake that has been made by a couple newbies. Not funny. Someone asked for it shaken, and I'm like, okay. And there's just messy day. They had to clean it up though. I'll tell you that. Now, let's try it. Let's try a shot of each of these, just as like a tradition. We're gonna start with the gin because I don't really had much gin outside of like working at the bar and blah blah blah. Now this is a very not so fancy way to measure ounces. A full glass of this is an ounce. That would basically be a shot. I thought a shot was 2 ounces. Maybe this is a 1 ounce shot glass? Honestly, I don't really pick. Water gives me headaches. Says Perpetual or Eyes or take a wild guess. in our chat. By the way, this segment will be uploaded to YouTube. So if I refer to anything in a way that sounds like it's going to be uploaded to YouTube, that's because it fucking is. Now, for those who are just joining, this is the signature drink of the resting hall. We're going to make it, but first I'm going to try a little bit of this gin. Probably should have some water. All I have is Pepsi. I'm going to take a sip of Pepsi if this burns, because it will burn. I'm also going to pour it over the drink so I don't get too much on this table. This isn't my table, by the way. In fact, I'm also not going to try... Well, I guess I am. I wasn't going to try a full shot of the gin, because I don't want to have too much alcohol tonight. That is about a shot. Here's the thing. I poured an ounce, which is the requirement for the drink. I will pour a little bit more into this. Well, you know what? No, then it wouldn't be an ounce. Pour that into the glass. That's the first job. So we're skipping ahead. I'm supposed to put the pineapples in there first, but we're cheating today because I poured a little bit too much. I'm going to just pour a little splash of this because I just want to taste of the gin. I spilled some of it everywhere. I have paper towels over there, don't worry. So I want to take a shot of this. Or not a shot. I like the aesthetic. I always say the smallest and most abandoned looking restaurants taste the best. I would assume that stands the same for bars. Yeah, this isn't the bar though. This is just my home on Earth. I came here from a solar system and multiverse travel and a whole bunch of other stuff. This is my house. I will eventually turn this into a home bar, but maybe one day we'll take a trip to the resting hall on this stream, perhaps. When I get a budget. Oh yeah, that's good. Wow. The Tanqueray. Ooh, I like it. It goes down smooth, almost no burning. I didn't have a full shot, but I like it. I like that. That's really good. It's like floral. The floral. I'm going to close this up since we already poured our shot. Oh, that's a little burn afterwards. Now, the next shot will be, I'm going to do a full shot of this bourbon. I'm excited to try the bourbon. The bourbon smells so good. And I heard it's smoky and perfect bourbon. I can literally come from a different fucking universe in Galaxy SBVR numbers. That's just like whatever. This is just where I live. Precisely. Oh, the bourbon smells so nice. I heard this goes down smooth. We're going to take a shot of it. We're just going to take a shot of it. Fuck it. This is a good bourbon. And we will then add the pineapples. We're gonna. I guess we already added the gin. I think it would make sense to add the pineapple slice afterwards. Then I mean, it's not tradition. We usually do that first in the bar, but I'm going to line this up nicely. I think I got a little bit more than a shot in there. Now I know whiskey usually burns. Well, I'm gonna set that. I definitely did more than a shot. Oh, whatever. I'll open the Pepsi. I have a feeling this Pepsi is going to explode on me, so I'm opening it slowly. Okay, now the Pepsi will act as our water in this situation, and also as our Pepsi, because you need Pepsi for this drink. Very important. No Coke. Coca-Cola is quite hard to come by on Congress. I could just bring some from home, but that spoils the fun. I dropped the cap, so it's open now. All right, now. This is a shot of Jefferson's bourbon. Really good from what I've heard. Coke is outlawed in... Yes. It is. That goes down smooth. Woo! A little burn, though. Pepsi probably won't have that. Woo! Should have got some water. Now... The next step, assuming we have already put the pineapples in, again, I messed up a little bit here, mostly due to the fact that I literally poured too much gin on my first shot of it. Now, I'm going to make sure this is more exact, so I'm going to hold this up like this. Probably should tilt it towards the way I want to see. Ounces, right. There we go. They also call the Galaxy of Hammer Galaxy. I'm just making it more difficult for you. I'm also making this shit up as I go. I love improv comedy. This is basically what this is. Out of character, I guess. Okay, now we have gin and a little bit, and same amount of, play the dial-up center for that. Anyway, we have gin and bourbon in there. I'm going to use this knife to mix because I don't have anything to mix it with. Do a little stir. The ice in there. Ice is somehow stuck together. And we get a nice kind of clear, it lightens the color of the bourbon. Very nice. Next up is a little bit of pineapple slices. I don't know how to open this without making a mess, so I guess we're making a mess. Now, normally I'd use 2 slices of pineapple, but as you might be able to tell from the fact that these pineapple slices are absolutely massive, they're thick. So I'm going to just cut one of these in half. Down the center. Just to give ourselves a little... I don't know how I'm going to open this without making a mess. Has a knife. Well, I mean, the knife wouldn't do much to stop the mess. Think about it. I mean, what I mean by not make a mess, I mean like open it properly without like cutting a hole in it. The knife would just do exactly what my finger did, but a little bit more elegantly. I missed my mark with it. I'm not good at cutting. Fun fact. Alright, we got like less than a wedge and more of a wedge. Put that in there, nice like that. And because this is a little bit too much of a chunk, I don't want to add too much pineapple. That's the key. I'm going to add a little bit more like this. Normally you'd cut it down the middle properly with, well, normally you'd have the right size things. So I'm just going to eat this. Fair enough. I'm not a chef. I'm not a chef. Should also maybe cut down on the alcohol content. Fuck that. Excuse me, will I get a paper towel? Pineapple chunks. So good. Now, for the final ingredient, bartender, you don't have paper towels within reach. Shameful. Well, they were kind of in reach. I just forgot to put them on that table. Now, the beef de resistance of a Merc Standoff, which if you're just joining is named after the way, well, although you are also using a folding table, so what the fuck should I expect? I am literally using a folding table. This is what the setup is going to look like for a little while. I mean, I have to build a whole home bar. Jeez, minimum wage, everybody. Okay, now, top it off with some Pepsi. Okay, a little bit more Pepsi. You don't usually want to stir this because it just kind of adds to the flavor when you leave it. Look at this. This mostly looks like Pepsi. I'm going to bring it closer to the camera after taking a sip. But yes, I know I'm just making fun of you because that's the perpetual way. Exactly. This is the way. Okay, now let's smell it first. So this smells like pineapples for sure, as always. Has a little bit of the other flavors in there. You can kind of smell the lavendery kind of, I don't know what you call it, maybe flowery taste of the Tanqueray. Now, for the first ever on-stream occasion on the Planet Earth version of taking a sip of this, because this is, it's time. Oh yeah. You could taste the pineapple, right? In the back end. So good. That's... Ooh, alright. Now, to describe the flavor, I'd have to say, definitely the pineapple is like light, right? If you mix it more when the pineapple's in there, some customers will do this, they'll mix the pineapple in a little bit more. But before you mix the pineapple, you know, then you would have less flavor of the pineapple in there, right? So that's actually the thing. See, when I say I put the pineapple in first, that's typical, but when we mix it, you know, then I guess it does kind of make sense that we would mix it into the pineapple. Never mind. Point is, retcon. I never said it. Never said anything. The Pepsi is nearly gone, as always. But the pineapple mixed with the floral taste of the Tanqueray. This particularly is Tanqueray, but the gin in general, really. Men in Black flashback. Yes, I never said anything about not adding the pineapple until the pineapple is supposed to go in. Well, actually, it depends on the customer. Let's kind of this way. light bulb memory from 6 hours. Not 6 hours. Anyway, but yeah. So when a customer usually orders it, they would usually order, you know, how they want it. So some people like to mix it more with the pineapple. I actually prefer it with the pineapple slightly in there, basically as a garnish at this point. I will eat the pineapple later on the stream, by the way, when we finish this glass. So yeah, you usually would mix it with the pineapple for more pineapple flavor, and you put the pineapple in after you mix the two alcohols together. If you don't want as much pineapple like I do, so it gives a nice color too. And the Pepsi is almost like just supplementary to everything. It almost don't taste any Pepsi. The bourbon, as well, is more supplementary to the gin, of course. But it's just a nice kind of texture. I really like it. Texture too. Yeah, and that's the Merc Standoff. I was going to call it something completely original. I don't know where I got pineapple, whatever from. Whatever I was going to say. Oh, that's a different type of stain. Anyway, there's a stain on there. This was originally used as painting, I guess, because there's paint there. Now, just to recap, this is a drink made in the Resting Hall, made popular by the Resting Hall too. Other bars will serve it, but not as good as we do. Ah, so good. Just the right tanginess too. The pineapple, like the longer you wait to drink it too, the pineapple seeps in. And, oh, it's so refreshing. It's refreshing. It's like refreshing Pepsi. Let me get this cap before I knock over the entire table to spill the Pepsi. Okay. As they do. You blow into the cap if you drop it in the floor. That's not sanitary, but, you know, I'm at home. I'm not serving this to anybody but myself. Anyway. Yeah, so the Pepsi, but a tiny bit less acidic. Yes, acidic. Yeah, the acidity of the drink is honestly balanced out. It's still pretty acidy because the pineapple has a lot of acids in it already. Yeah, you still taste the Pepsi, for sure. It is, and the further you get down, it's a multi-layered drink in flavor. It's whew, very good. And the bourbon, this choice of bourbon, Admiral's choice of bourbon, by the way, he picked this one out for me. I went to his liquor store that he works at, and we picked out these two drinks for this particular use case of the drink. I've totally made this drink. Totally in character. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So, yes, the drink, just for the recap, is, you know, signaturized and stylized by the owner of the Resting Hall. When he was making it one night, before it had the name, on the first attempt of making this drink, a mercenary came in. God, I almost knocked over that. A mercenary comes in, looking for his target, and when he takes the first sip, the mercenary pulls his gun. The target pulls his other gun, his own gun. And they have a Merc Standoff, barrel to face on each end. It was quite cursed, if you will. They were about to murder each other. Nobody knows who shot first. The boss never elaborates. Probably doesn't even remember. He was probably drunk off his own crazy concoctions that he's been trying all day. Or would it be night? See, we're in space. I don't know if there's a night and day in a spaceship. By the way, I'll read that now. What if SpongeBob didn't have all the numerous holes in him? There were a few thousand tiny holes, but the acidity of the pineapple he lives in affected his body. That hurt my brain to read, so I will not even elaborate. I'm going to tell you no. That is the answer to your question. Now, anyway, as I was saying, so yeah, the Resting Hall. Great, great drink that they've made. My boss over there at the Resting Hall. Very good. Okay, yes. Good point. Oh, man. The further you get down, the more gin comes in. Like, the bourbon's kind of like top flavor, whereas the gin is like bottom flavor. That made it sound extremely sexual. Yeah. This has been Tales from the Resting Hall.